What are you going to do?
I couldn't decide how to wear my buffs. I'm just going to play with them the whole time.
No, you'll hate that when you edit.
No, I'll love it.
Why you did Brother Teresa?
No, I've done it. I don't think I've done chicken.
You know when you see Survivor players at the reunion and they like are wearing something, you're like, ooh, that was a bold choice.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you're doing for Inside the Urn?
Yeah. I'm happy with this choice. It's like big sleeves. Big sleeves are in, right? Oh, it's the finale. Yeah, the finale's done. It's over. Thanks, everyone, for watching Season 4 of Backyard Survivor.
We have a winner.
We do.
Congratulations, Salvador. A well-deserved win.
Final 5.
Yeah, 2 fractions within that yellow 4. We have Sal and Val on one side and Joe and Kiara on the other side, with Josh as this outlier, the last remaining red, stuck in the middle. Let's look at what is happening within that 3 of Josh, Valentina, and Salvador.
Yes.
So Josh is pitching, I'll do whatever you want, really. And it's Valentina who offers the name Kiara.
Yes.
So this is kind of the follow-up to what happened with the Rachel vote.
Yes.
So if you remember, Salvador said, let's vote out Rachel and I'll do what you want to do next time. Mm-hmm. That was the pitch. And Valentina went along with that plan. Mm-hmm. So here they are at the final 5 and Valentina is basically saying, I know that I said Joe last time, but why?
Yeah.
Why should we not get Kiara here? And, well, we don't have to worry about spoilers at this point.
That's right.
Like, why is this the first time that Kiara's name has come up?
Oh my god.
Like, Kiara is this, returning player with this amazing story, and she's never been the target.
Yeah.
Valentina at Final 5 is the first person to kind of say, hey, Kiara is this huge name. If she gets to the end, she's going to beat us all.
Yeah.
And Josh is obviously fine with this. Mm-hmm. And Sal says yes.
Yeah.
But then in confessional, this is where Sal's strategy comes out, where he's saying like, this is what I do. I say yes to people in the moment, so they do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But then I don't do their thing.
Yeah.
I have to bump it down the line again.
Yeah. I'll say, yeah, I will do your thing, but not this time. I think the people from Red, he would say, yes, I'm going to do that thing, and then he didn't do it. And then they were all against him. What he does with people from Yellow is he says, yeah, I'm going to do that thing, but let's save it till next time.
So he'll do that again here at the Final 5. Valentina will be all set to vote out Kiara here. And then Sal will swoop in and be like, yeah, look, I was thinking maybe that's not the best plan, because all Josh is one immunity challenge win away from winning the whole game. Mm-hmm. So people can now see that Rachel, Matt, Michael, they're all sitting on the jury. It's also probably likely Fu will jump in on them. And there's 4 jury votes for Josh.
Yeah.
So they've got the chance to take out Josh now. Why not do it now?
Yeah. And it is a gamble, because you for Sal and Valentina, I think they are looking at Josh and Kiara as they're the 2 that we cannot sit next to. So we have to take them out 5 and 4. The question is, what order do you do that?
Yeah.
Do you, and Josh has won 1 immunity, Kiara's won 2.
And they don't know what the challenge is.
So you really are, like, just having
Pitching
a guess at that point.
Okay, a bit of a memorial for Josh.
You will be missed. And also what happens at the Final 5 here is that Salvador does not play the idol. People don't leave Final 5 thinking like, oh, Salvador, tricky boy, we didn't know that you were hiding that as well.
That is some cojones.
Yes.
So now we get to the Final 4 vote. Mm-hmm. A vote unlike any we've ever had before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kyle and I definitely thought this was going to be a tie. We do this every season where we're like,
my god,
it's going to be a tie, and we need a tiebreaker challenge.
And then we just like hustle to make sure that we've got a challenge.
Because we'd already packed it away in the truck, so we needed to unpack it from the truck. So there is like scenes at camp where, because we tell them like, oh, you're only going to be at Final 3 camp for a little bit, and then we'll bring you into Final Tribal Council. Because, at this point it's 9 o'clock, 9:30. We got to wrap it
There's
up.
only so many people to talk to.
Yeah. But it goes for longer because we have to unpack the challenge from the car, because we assumed that Joe was going to vote with Kiara here and tie it up, and we were going to get a tiebreaker between Val and Kiara.
Yeah.
That is not what happens.
Yeah. I understand where Joe is coming from here. There are multiple things at play. You can get to the end and you see that you're one step away from the final three, where you have to pitch to a bunch of people to explain why you think you should win. And if in that moment you don't feel like you should win, do you really want to be there trying to sell yourself if you don't believe it yourself? And that has been fueled by Slam Book at Final 8, and also what people have said at tribal councils as well. So I think that has all sort of started to really sink in with Joe, where it's feeling like no one is appreciating what I'm doing here. So why would I want to sit there? And I like you three. So like, take it. I'm happy for you three. Go forth.
You know, it's interesting when you compare Sal and Joe, and I don't know about Valentina, but Sal and Joe copying the same criticism and the way that it impacts on Joe compared to the way that it impacts on Sal. He doesn't care. It's going to fuel him. He's confident in his game, and he's going to get to the end and pitch his best case and ultimately win. But Joe is at a point where it's just gotten under her skin. I think what's also beautiful about the story is, you know, you were talking about how, like, Sal is convincing Joe, like, no, don't listen to them. You've got this, and it benefits him. Kiara is also the one doing this to Joe. She is saying, like, I don't want you to give up on yourself. Do not think that you don't have a shot. Don't listen to them. And this, I mean, whether or not she knew it at the time, I'm not too sure, but this doesn't benefit Kiara.
Yeah.
Like, this will ultimately give Joe that permission to be able to do what is right for her. And even when Joe is standing there and saying, there's no switching their idea, they're going to vote for you, so I'm also going to vote for you, and she's telling this to Kiara's face, Kiara responds with, I believe in all of you.
Yeah. And again, like we spoke about how for Joe, it's like you've genuinely built a relationship with these people where it hurts her to turn on Kiara here. But also for Kiara, who has built such a great relationship with Joe, Kiara's not going to turn around at Final Four and be like, yeah, you're right, Joe. Like, if you want to step down, do it. Like, she's not going to turn around and like fuel that Joe leaves the game here.
She does have that confessional where she thinks maybe the kindest thing to do here is to let Joe go. But that is because she is thinking about protecting Joe from that final jury.
Exactly.
Joe doesn't want to go up against 8 people who are going to tell her that she's just wasted the last 2 days and that she's a crap player. And Kiara understands that and thinks, I don't want Joe to give up, but if that's what she's trying to avoid, who am I to say, no, Joe, you've got to go through that so that I can win. You know, that's not where Kiara's coming from at all.
Yeah. So there's obviously a lot of heart that is coming to the fore here in the Final Four. And the emotions are being felt all around.
I think at the point where Joe starts talking about hard decisions is when it starts to sink in, like, oh, we're not doing a 2-2. We're not doing a tiebreaker here, and that we know, and I know that Kiara's going to go home here. We've known Kiara for a really long time at this point. Kyle and I were both there to give Kiara a hug after she got voted out first. We know how much that impacted on her. We went through the whole journey of asking her to play again and, you know, encouraging her and doing her meet the cast and being excited for her. And here we are, and she's done an amazing job, and she's going to fall short just at this final hurdle.
Yeah. And she articulates it so well. She's able to tell us when we ask, what's it been for you? And she says it's been healing. And, you know, she really captures what it's like to be someone who is voted out first. And that resonates with us. For me, in that moment when we snuff her torch at the Final Four, the picture is there of like what this season has been, where knowing that it starts with Holly being the first one to have her torch snuffed, and the last torch that we will snuff will be Kiara's, and just that whole like book ending of it is just like, it all just manifests in front of my eyes, where it's just like, it's so beautiful. And I just felt so happy and proud for Kiara that she was able to do that.
A really lovely moment, and I don't think there was I know that we were crying, but I don't think there was a dry eye behind the cameras.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of tears. I know off camera you've said that one of the big things that you regret is not being able to articulate in the moment why you're crying. So yeah, this is our chance to be like, we're not crying because Kiara didn't win.
Yeah.
Like that's not what's happening.
Yeah. I wish that I'd been able to say in that moment that the reason why I was crying was because of how proud I was of Kiara and how well she had done. And that I wasn't crying about her not making the final three.
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted to acknowledge the final three a bit more in that moment to be like, well done to you guys.
Yeah.
Also for making it to the end.
Well done, Kiara. We said it then, we mean it now. So, I am on record that I don't ever want to play one of these live reality games because I'm too afraid of going first. Mm-hmm. And so for someone to have done it, gone first, and then come back and put themselves out on the line for that, like, I'll never be able to articulate how much respect I have.
We're so grateful that the other two did this as well.
Yes.
Like, it's amazing that Kiara made it as far as she did, but all three of them went in knowing that, like, history could repeat. And for Holly, it did. But she was still brave enough to give it a shot, that maybe it would be a different outcome. For David, like, it started strong and then he was on the ropes. But again, just being brave enough to say, like, yeah, I'm prepared to go into this knowing that, like, the same thing could happen again.
Okay, so let's talk about Final Tribal Council. It was hard. My impression on the day was it was Sal's to lose.
Yeah.
Going in. Yeah, I did think that Sal had a good chance, knowing as well that he had the idol that he was going to whip out. Mm-hmm. After the first question, I actually thought Joe did the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. In the end, just my personal perspective. I thought Sal got caught out by how hot the jury came in and was just like, this is going to be really hard. And I think potentially Joe was a little bit more prepared for that, really, because she'd been getting it for a really long time.
Yeah.
And Valentina answered kind of somewhere in the middle, and then throughout by the time Final Tribal Council was finished, Valentina kind of had remained in the middle, and Joe had kind of gone down in stock, and Sal had skyrocketed up. I think, in my opinion, his strongest answer is when he starts to get labeled as a goat.
Yeah.
And Sal's response is so quick. He's like, a goat doesn't collect lots of votes, so...
Yeah, that's really where it's, he's talked about, having to differentiate his game with Kiara's, but then that's the opportunity to be like, hang on, you think I was the GOAT and like following Kiara, but then why were you coming for me? Why didn't you vote for her? And I think that's really where they were. You probably took a moment to be like, why were we doing that? And it's like, yeah, they wanted to get him out.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Joe and the Kiara vote and what we think of her game. Like, and I think she did an incredible job to get from the bottom of that last in the lineup to that spot. She will get Kiara's vote at this Final Tribal Council, which is just like, to me, the most beautiful full stop on that story, which is just like, you can't be mad at Joe for voting out Kiara, because Kiara's not mad at Joe.
That's right, yeah.
Kiara appreciates and respects the game and votes for her at the end to win. And not only that, it's not a pity vote. She's convinced that, I think Kiara knew Joe wasn't going to win, but she's convinced that when you look back on Joe's game, you'll realize that she actually played an incredibly solid, strong social game.
Yep.
Valentina will collect Matt B's vote. Matt B, so impressed by her ability to get back on day one.
It's been epic.
Yeah. It's just, he was, completely won over by Valentina's battle back in. Yep. And I think Jake, who potentially, it's him that goes up against Valentina in that 6-6 in the merge vote, and he thinks that Valentina will go right after him.
Yep.
So, from his perspective, to see Valentina be able to slip under the radar and then dominate, and socially and get to the end, I think Jake respects that and will vote for Valentina at the end as well.
There's also something poetic about Matt B and Jake, who will be the ones most burnt by Abby throughout this game, will vote for Abby's nemesis, Valentina.
Yeah. And then the rest of the votes, Abby, Fu, Michael, Josh, Rachel, and Matt will all vote for Sal as well.
Season 4, when you look back on it, it was the season of emotion and the season of narrative payoff.
Yeah. Congratulations, Sal. Very happy for you to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. This isn't Drag Race.
Thank you, everybody who has been watching Inside the Urn throughout the season. All the people who are in the VIP lounge. First time that we have done that for a season.
It's one of the funnest parts, is being able to share it with everyone and then also hear everyone's thoughts about, I don't know, how it all is shaking out. It's very exciting for us. So yeah, thank you very much.
And good night.
Yeah, I mean, we are done. See you next time.
Everyone. Thank you to the crew. Congratulations, Salvador, and the final 3, and all the players who played and made this season epic and redemption-y.
Redemption-y.
Thank you.
That was the goal.
Thank you to Bryan.
Oh, thank you to Kyle.
Do you want to try? No.
Oh, you're trying to cover it?
I was trying to cover it.
Oh, this is going to be amazing if I can do it. Oh. Hold on. You can just edit that.